Hello friends, back with the Science in Bhagavad Gita Chapter 1 Gita Lessons. So Gita Lessons Part 2. We covered up to 10th section and now we're going to cover Arjuna was confused and he didn't want to fight anymore. And he started justifying all the things that he perceived, understood. He was confused, deluded. He was an illusion. He was fearful of future. He was worried about family getting destroyed, friends getting killed. And he was giving all the counts of what would happen in the society. We are actually going to do ahobat mahapapam by killing all of them. And he said, I don't want anything. I don't want to kill my own people. I don't want kingdom. I don't want the luxuries of life. Even if they kill me, if they find me armless and kill me, I'm okay with that. So, in this part, I'm going to start talking about what excuses and justification Arjuna is giving to Lord Krishna for justifying his inaction. So, verse 38 and 39. Okay, so 38 to 39. Yadappetena pashyanti lobo apahat chetasa ulakhe kritam dosam mitradohe cha patakam. So, this is the verse. So, Arjuna is arguing that the Kauravas are blinded by all the greed. But what are we doing? He is asking Krishna, we should not be doing the same thing, right? Pandavas should not be retaliating in the same way. They are doing it out of the greed, passion into this world. Are we not going to be doing the same thing? We also have a greed as similar as them. So a false sense of morality has emerged in Arjuna, and that is becoming a basis of all of his inaction right now at this critical juncture, in this critical moment. So this is the practical aspect of this. Happens in our life also, right? At the critical moment, critical juncture, critical situation, we start referring to morality without really understanding what is the real form of morality, and actually we make that as an excuse for our inactions. So this needs to be understood. So when you are in, let's say, leadership is basically what? You lead your family, you lead your society, you lead your state, you lead your country, you lead the humanity. So in all the capacity that we work, even if we are blooming, we are leading to clean up the society. That's how it should be taken as. So in every role that we do, we are actually leading from the front, and that to me is actually leadership. So when you are leading, avoiding difficult decisions because of the fear will have long-term consequences, and it will fail in the long term. So that practical lesson for the life and the spirituality, the seeker must fight the inner ignorance and understand the morality in the true sense, and the weaknesses will go only after you become inward and become more aware of yourself without any hesitation. So the true compassion is not avoiding conflict, but standing up for the righteousness. So this is the lesson from this verse, where Arjuna is justifying, saying that they are doing this, they are greedy, we are also going to be greedy if we retaliate with them in the same way. Moving on, the next verse, 40. he is actually giving logic about decay of Dharma. If we go and fight this war, how will we actually decay the Dharma? Kulakshaya pranashyanti kuladharma sanatana. So he's saying when the families go down, when the family is destroyed, the tradition and the dharma will also perish. All those families who observe those traditions and dharma, that also will go away, vanish. So that Sanatan Dharma will go. What is saying? So what he's saying is that he is showing the fear that if we neglect the ethical values being followed so far and all the traditions built by the society, it will lead to longer term destruction. So, but in fact, actually, he is going away from the core ethical value, which is not going to the soul. Whatever he is generating it out of fear and saying that this will happen, that will happen, actually, eventually, none of those things will happen. So if you see, in all walks of life, 90% of our fear actually do not convert into reality, actuality. It doesn't happen. If we just fear, but what during the course, what happen is 95% different from what we all think about. So somebody wants to become a doctor, ends up becoming an engineer. Somebody wants to be an engineer, ends up becoming a sportsman. So like the destiny has a different course, and the life unfolds. Life comes in front of you with different challenge, and that becomes an opportunity for all. So neglecting the core ethical values, you might justify with the ethical values, but the core ethical values to go to the soul and find the right purpose in life and then move forward. So for us in life, a company or a community that preserves its core principles to sustain success will go a long way. But if you are scared, if you are responding to situation to hide your weaknesses, etc., you won't be able to hide it for a long time. But if you stick to the core values, the journey might be a little time taking, but then it will actually take you to the right destination. And the spiritual perspective is whenever the dharma declines, the duty towards your soul decline, there is a chaos in you. This is the chaos in Arjuna that is visible here. That there is an inner conflict. There is a lot of noise in him. Now everything is coming up. All the experiences and teachings, traditions which are stored in his memory lake are all usurping and then coming up like a demon in front of him. He's got to deal with it. All he can do is to uphold the spiritual discipline and do not run away from it in spite of all these external difficulties. So in this chaotic situation, upholding the spiritual discipline is very, very important. Okay. And so stick to the core values over there. This is the lesson. Next verse is 41, is where Arjuna talks about the when the society gets corrupted, what will happen? He says, Adharma vibhavat Krishna padaschanti kulastriya. When the unrighteous will start dominating, moral values will decline, affecting the future generation. So what will happen is, we are families right now, but when the killing happens, none of us will get anything. We will all die. Most of us will die. Then somebody else will come and take over, will win over our wives, will take away our children. They will marry our girls and wives, and then they will produce children from them, and then the offspring will be mixed blood, etc. And they will become Varna Sankaras. And then they say the future generations will lose their identity. The practical aspect of this is that If you follow unethical practices, it will lead to toxic work culture and corrupted workplace behavior. And typically, this is what we feel. By declining values, we create instability and suffering in our life. But if you stick to the core values in life, core is your own soul. So, uh, uh, fundamental core values will always help you remain to the core and follow the truth and righteousness. So, if you stick to the core value, uh, you will be able to manage the upcoming toxic work culture and workspace, and you will be able to remove the corruption. The spiritual aspect of this is that whenever the uh, inner turmoil arises, uh, the soul has a tendency to move away from dharma, because then when you start losing the comfort, going out of the comfort zone, you will always turn away. The seeker should always remain firm against all such negative influences that come over and overwhelm you. Uh, so out of Arjuna's this fear uh, and logic about the corruption in society, because if we lose, we kill or they kill us, all these things will happen, is generated all out of the fear, and then he is becoming weaker because of this. 42 and 43, these two verses talk about the cycle of spiritual decline. One of the verses, Sankaro Narakaya Iva Kulagna Anam Kulasacha. He's explaining that when the moral is, he's explaining the cycle of spiritual decline, how downtrodden typically the families and the values become. He says moral decline will lead to spiritual downfall, and that will cause suffering for generations to come. In practical life, the lack of such wisdom will lead to longer term failure, because right now you will be recognizing wrong things uh, uh, as the reasons for your failure. But if you do not worry about some of these wrong things, you will stick to the core values, and the moral values will uphold you and will be able to help you manage all the disorder and the suffering in life. This is what it means. And without the spiritual aspect is that without the dharma, the soul remains trapped in the suffering. So, the basic teaching here is that the fear, the running away, the weaknesses that has emerged from all the traditions and beliefs, etc., will make you wander, your mind wander in the nature, and you will never be able to concentrate on anything. You will not be able to get into the centered awareness and awakening. So the true purpose of life will emerge from the self-realization only, and to liberate yourself, you will have to forget many traditions and beliefs in society. This is what the sum and substance of this verse says. The 44th verse talks about the fear of wrong actions. So there is another logic that he gives. Half of the sloka is Utsannukula Dharmanam Manushanam Janardana. So he fears that if we all fight, we'll be because people will be killed, we will be responsible for the decline of the dharma. So so there is a lot of hesitation coming here from Arjuna, and he is saying that the losing or winning, whoever wins, failure is inevitable. And then he's saying who will be responsible for that. So there is a fear which he says that either of us will fail, and the Ussanna Kula Dharmanam, the Kula Dharma is going to fall. So all the name and fame that our forefathers have got, we will uh, we will be responsible for the decline of that. So to avoid necessary actions causing greater harm in the longer run, what we should do is not fight at all. So that is the logic he gave. So Krishna actually would actually give more lessons to him. He is right now in the listening mode. Arjuna has declared that he doesn't want to fight, and now he is justifying all with all his logic and knowledge that this is the reason why we should not fight. So in the spiritual aspect, the seeker will go through this dilemma, and he will still have to gather his courage and be righteous and align himself with the duties towards the purpose actually that for which the whole thing has actually started. So in the middle of the battlefield, having decided to do certain thing, this whole teaching is Bhagavad Gita is in the middle of the thing. It's not that the decision has been taken. You have gone through all the suffering, all the situations where, in all the situations, Krishna persuaded to avoid this war. Having taken a decision that you are in the war now, this kind of question, conflict, fear, weakness, etc., is something that we should not be doing. It's what this Bhagavad Gita teachings are. So do not let fear stop the righteous action, is what the teaching over here is, where Arjuna is giving all those excuses. So, sloka 45th, where he's seeking the ultimate escape, he's saying, Ahom vat mahapapam kartum vyavasita vayam. You and me both, he's saying, we are going to do this papa, is the wrong thing that we are going to do. And he's saying, let us abandon this duty. This is not dharma. This duty, this dharma, this has to be abandoned. Because we are going to do something drastically wrong. Now, in the real life, to remove the problem, the best way to remove the problem is that don't do it at all. So remove the responsibility itself. Avoid the responsibility. That is what typically we choose. But actually running away from the challenge only will worsen the situation. It is not going to improve the situation. That's the lesson. And where Krishna will come, but this is where it is. So we all know the story of Mahabharata and what was taught in Bhagavad Gita. Eventually, after Arjuna surrenders to Krishna, what he teaches, right now, his troubled heart and mind is coming up with all this logic. The spiritual perspective is that do not escape from the inner struggle. It is all inner struggle. Arjuna is the inside pravritti, inside intentions, right? One of the 5 strong divine thoughts, and is the inner. Arjuna is the inner thought, inner strong thought, and so the seeker should not escape that struggle. Go through the struggle, face it, and then see what your guide or mentor has to say. Actually, Krishna is our inner guide and mentor. If you surrender to your inside, get inside, find the answer to try to find answer to all your problems, you will find it. You will find it from within. External help will never solve your problems. Internal or external, whatever, your problems will be solved only through inside. Because your inside knows what you are, what is your fabric, how you are made up, what are your capabilities, what is the best response to the course in a given situation. The inside knows it all, because it has been you for ages and generations and life after life. Your inside knows what you are. Nobody else knows. It's your inside which has been incarnated life after life, time after time, period after period, yugas after yugas, time immemorial. You have been the same. So this is the immortality of the soul. Until you get liberated, you are actually carrying impressions of all your lives in your mind. Your mind carries it birth after birth, body after body. The 46th verse is where Arjuna prefers defeat over conflict. So now there is an inner conflict. He says, I am okay to give up the fight. Yadi mama pratikaram asastram sastrapalaya. If they kill me, I have dropped my Gandhi. I have dropped my weapon. I don't want to fight. If they see that I have actually abandoned my weapon and I'm not going to fight and they kill me, that is also okay. He says, I would rather prefer to die unarmed than fight my own people. To this extent, he has gone. So, not realizing that in the practical aspect of our life, not realizing that if we avoid this conflict and do not manage the difficult situation in our life, it will lead to greater loss in the longer run. So, in business, in leadership, we need to be standing firm on our principle and take all the necessary steps to deal with the conflict for the longer term success. That's the lesson. A spiritual aspect of this whole thing, self-doubt is the major obstacle. And you need clarity to succeed on the spiritual path. That is why Guru is very important. The master is very important for a spiritual progress to resolve and overcome your weaknesses. And eventually we will come to a point where Arjuna surrenders to Lord Krishna saying, I won't be able to manage it. Now you need to guide me. The verse 47, where Arjuna surrendered, Eva muktva Arjuna sankhe rathopastha upavishat. Arjuna says this and he goes to the backside of his chariot and he throws his Gandiv and he sits over there. Arjuna is overwhelmed, drops his bow and sits in despair. So the strongest can also face this situation. Okay, in the moments of doubt, the strongest, he was a mighty warrior. He was the most skilled archer in that time. But he is also falling. The only answer here is getting some guidance to actually repair the despair. The spiritual aspect of this whole thing is that when one realizes that their ignorance and seeks guidance, they will be able to solve. So now this marks the beginning of the divine teaching of Lord Krishna. And in the next chapter, the transformation of Arjuna will begin. So far, the chapter 1 has got, the 47th chapter is where Arjuna has dropped his Gandhi, his bow. So far the core teaching has been Arjuna is confused and this represents the starting point of spiritual awakening. Confusion is the starting point of spiritual awakening. And one comes to a realization that limited perspective, limited understanding cannot guide anyone to the end purpose, end goal. The practical application of this whole thing is accept that there has to be an acceptance that one does not know everything. You will know some part of it, but there is no complete understanding. It will come from the awakening. So recognizing one's limitation is a very good quality and it is the first step to the growth. This is what Arjuna was doing, and he was recognizing. He observed the whole battlefield. He recognized his emotional weaknesses. He was all powerful externally, but internally he was getting weak because of the chaos and the internal conflict. So, but he was able to successfully recognize and express it to his master. On the contrary, Duryodhana was hiding all those weaknesses. Instead of expressing this to Dronacharya and Bhishma, he was asking them to boost his confidence and make it sound like an overconfidence, to just create the fear in the minds of the Pandavas Actually, inside he was fearful. So these are the contrary mixed things that we do in our life. The spiritual aspect of it is that the true wisdom starts with the humility which Arjuna has got. He is humble, he used to conduct himself with the utmost humility in front of Lord Krishna. So Krishna used to love him. The ego must surrender before the divine wisdom. The divine wisdom is ever flowing inside you. That's where Krishna is. Krishna is flowing in you through your breath. He is part of every essence of life. So the ego has to surrender. If it doesn't surrender, it will not get that essence from Lord. So, Krishna as the inner guru has to be accessed when in doubt, confusion, and dilemma. So, because he is present in every soul, seek the guidance, go inward, become more and more aware, awaken yourself to whatever extent possible. We will begin somewhere from limited awakening, and it will go gradually, and eventually we'll get the full awakening. If you get the right mentor in your life, he will change the entire perspective of you. And so seeking the guidance to prevent you from the longer term failure is very, very important in life. So the spiritual aspect is go inward. Krishna symbolizes your soul, surrender to the eternal soul, and spiritual realization is only possible if your ego bows down in front of the wisdom, Vijnana, that Ram and Krishna are Vijnana, Jnana. So if you surrender in front of the wisdom, is only when you will get the spiritual realization for your life. So final takeaway from chapter 1, the mirror of every human being, the inner struggle is your own mind. Doubt is natural, but must be overcome. You can't run away from it. Doubt is natural, but must be overcome with wisdom. Fear and attachment to things will always cloud your righteous action. They will stop you from taking the right decision. True leadership and success require clarity, courage, and ethical action. The first step to any spiritual transformation is to recognize one's ignorance. Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana, and all his army are not recognizing their ignorance, whereas Arjuna is recognizing his ignorance and accepting it, working towards removing it with the help of Lord Krishna, the soul. Krishna, divine wisdom, is your soul, is always there to guide, always there to guide. He was not just in the Dwapar Yuga, 5,200 years ago. He is ever present all the time as a soul within us. One just needs to surrender inside to your own soul, and Krishna awakens you into the truth, and you will get to know all the wisdom, because Krishna is nothing but wisdom. In concluding, we saw what all these things in chapter 1. In the chapter 2, we will see what is Krishna's divine wisdom. Are you ready for the next divine journey from Lord Krishna? Stay tuned with us on this channel. I will soon see you with chapter 2, Krishna's divine wisdom given to Arjuna. And this is also called as Karma Yoga. Some people call it Sankhya Yoga. Let us explore what is that beautiful teaching Lord Krishna gave to Arjuna. Thank you.